Morgan, I was juiced for this game. I just wanted to see how Denver is going to respond. I expected a back-and-forth game. Minnesota had been playing the best basketball in the NBA.
Yes.
During the playoffs.
Oh, yeah.
They had not lost in the playoffs. They're coming off a game 2 that was one of the best defensive performances I think we've seen in playoff history. I'm saying it.
Absolutely. Whoa. I was going to say just absolutely beautiful, but a little dramatic. But either way, the way that it made us feel, it was such a high of highs as a basketball fan. So to be let down tonight with that performance from the Minnesota Timberwolves, it sucked. But at the same time, I don't feel like it was an effort thing. I just felt like the Nuggets were that much better and the T-Wolves could never figure it out.
The Nuggets get game 3, 117-90. First thing, I feel like the 3 days off was a huge benefit to Jamal Murray, a huge benefit to Reggie Jackson.
Yep.
Both those guys look like they were in some bad shape.
They look
after
like they're
what went
dying.
down. Yeah. And having 3 extra days to just rest,
They
get
came back
prepared
to
for this
life.
game, they're ready. The next thing to me, you knew Denver was going to respond in some way tonight, right?
Yeah.
And if they didn't, we'd all be sitting here tonight going, what the hell is wrong with this team?
Yep.
Are
You'd
they
be
just
getting the
folding up
shovels
shop?
out.
The shovels would be out. It'd be all over. But they showed up. You knew they were going to show up. The question was, how is Minnesota going to handle things? I didn't think Minnesota was going to handle things like tonight. I could not, for the life of me, understand what was going on with the offense. I know they showed glimpses of doing that throughout the regular season. But for Karl Anthony Towns to get 7 shots in this game,
Aye.
1 in the second half?
Aye.
What was going on?
Especially with the way that he started the game, knocking down the long ball. I mean, you and I were looking at each
4-4.
other like, holy shit, he's feeling
Yep.
good tonight. This is what we're going to see. I personally think it was something to do with their defense. And now it's more of what the energy that they get from when they have those good defensive moments, those good defensive nights. I didn't think the defense just wasn't there. It just felt like the Nuggets were knocking down so many shots.
Yeah.
We're making the better play. We're making the extra pass. So then they couldn't get as many stops, right? And in that first game, we saw so much life from that defense that helped create so much more offense. And I don't know if they were relying on that, but whatever it was, it just felt like it deflated them, felt like they just didn't have it. And then they didn't want to be as aggressive on the offensive end as the game kept going on.
Game 2, the officials were not calling anything. And I felt like that really benefited Minnesota. Tonight, they were getting called for some stuff. And I
Yeah.
think that maybe changed things. You know, McDaniels picks up 3 early fouls. That kind of took him out of the game. And then late in the game, there were some calls that Minnesota didn't like. And they were rattled from it, just like Denver was in game 2.
Yeah, and that's why like I know this game everyone's talking about Minnesota and the offense, and as we should, but I think because of the special performance that we saw defensively in that last game, especially, we know what they're capable of. And tonight, it just felt like their assignments, everything was off. The way that they were shifting across the floor. I mean, Nuggets were doing a fantastic job of going in and out, side to side, moving the ball around. And then the T-Wolves defense wasn't communicating the right way. They were overreacting on so many times that guys were driving. They just didn't feel or seemed focused.
And that's the problem, right? Like,
yeah.
This was a team in Denver that was on the ropes. And you knew they were going to come out to throw a punch tonight.
Sure.
But with the way you've been playing, the focus needed to be there. And I didn't feel like that focus was there. It wasn't the same level of intensity.
Yes.
They didn't match what Denver was going to bring.
Sense of urgency.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they were kind of, I don't know. Look, it's one game. I'm not trying to overreact. Minnesota can win game 4 and they're up 3-1.
Yeah.
They're feeling great. But the last thing you needed tonight was to give Denver any confidence. They leave tonight not only with a win, but a dominating performance. Jamal Murray, who has been struggling, looked like Jamal Murray again tonight. He got to his spots.
Oh my
he was getting to the cup.
He was
He looked
fun.
fresh. He had a dunk in transition, John, to the crowd. If I'm a Nuggets fan tonight, I'm feeling like, oh, is he feeling way better?
The Boo Birds only inspired
Yeah.
him to do more. I mean, from driving to the basket, crafty little reverse layups, to jamming in transition, to exactly like you said, you see him go baseline, fall away jumper. I mean, just some beautiful basketball from Jamal Murray. And to see him come back to life like that, You do not want to see that if you're the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, I do think that they will make adjustments and be able to slow them down, but how many times have we seen Jamal Murray be that man that is possessed against the Lakers in that series when you just have those game winners? And again, being able to get to a spot, I think it inspires the rest of the Nuggets team and everyone else just knocking down their shots.
He had 24 points, got off to a quick start. 5 assists, 4 rebounds, 11 of 21 shooting. Jokic tonight, close to a triple-dub, like usual. 24 points, 14 rebounds, 9 assists, 3 blocks, 3 steals. What did you love about how he was playing tonight?
A lot more aggressive, and he was a lot more decisive. You would see the ball get to him at the high post. The defense would either collapse on him, come up to him, and then that would leave someone open in the dunker spot or on the block, whether it was Christian Brown or it was Aaron Gordon. And it was just the most simple offense. It was Jamal to Jokic to Brown to Aaron Gordon. It was fundamental. It was beautiful. And that's what I'm so used to with Jokic, him just making the game easier for everyone else. I mean, how many times do we see when Jamal Murray wants to get that pick and roll, but then he kind of hands it off to Jokic, and it could be Michael Porter Jr. also kind of up there, and then he just slips with the back door. KCP slips with the back door. Jokic with the perfect pocket pass. There was just so much more beautiful offense going on with the Nuggets tonight. At first, I was like, I don't know if I really like this game, but really thinking about it now, I'm like, okay, there was some sexy ass shit out there.
I think when you talk about not liking the game, it was more from the standpoint that we were just coming off the Knicks Pacers game, the high of highs.
Yes.
Every one of these games is awesome, and that game too between Denver and Minnesota was great from a standpoint of that was just pure domination. The defense was flying, and the offense, they were whipping the ball around, knocking down shots. It was just a magical performance. Where tonight it was the Nuggets. A blowout. And Denver totally dominated this game. You know, I saw it on social media. I think there's some people that may be overreacting to Rudy Gobert being back. Look, the offense at times can be more challenging to defend when Rudy is not out there. For sure. But like, I feel like people get prisoner of the moment with this type of stuff too. It's like, no, Rudy's definitely impactful. He didn't have a monster game tonight at all in his first game back, but I'm not thinking you need to make any rash adjustments like, hey, maybe we bring Gobert off the bench. Like, no, what are we saying?
You've already seen such a big enough sample size, not only in the regular season, but then in the postseason as well, with success with Rudy Gobert and Kat in there. I mean, again, this is something that I used to think I was going to be making fun of forever, being like, this was the worst trade ever. How can you make two bigs work with where the NBA is going? No, they have made it work. Yep. The entire team flows so well. Kat has done a fantastic job of just stretching the floor a little bit more and then becoming such a dominant player from the outside, such a dynamic offensive player that, no, do not freak out. Do not go to that.
They also missed shots tonight. They were 10 of 33 from beyond the arc, 33%. Meanwhile, Denver, 14 of 29, 48% from three. One thing on Anthony Edwards tonight, he had some moments where it looked like he was taking over. You know, one guy that I got to give some love to, Christian Brown. They had him on Anthony Edwards.
It was good.
And I felt like his size and athleticism contained him a little bit, as
vertical.
much as he could. Yeah. And that was with KCP in the game. They put KCP off of him. So I thought that was just an interesting little wrinkle from this game that looked like maybe that's something you'll see more of. But I thought Anthony Edwards probably should have tried to take over this game a little more when things went bad. I just feel like when the T-Wolves offense goes bad, it gets ugly.
Stagnant,
It gets
ugly,
way too stagnant.
deflated.
That ball's got to... I can't have Anthony Edwards chilling in the corner.
Sure.
I can't have Kat just chilling around. Like, these guys need to be involved. There wasn't a lot of ball movement in this one. And you also give credit to Denver's defense. I thought they were super engaged. They were flying everywhere. And as this game went on, they got more confident. And when they're confident, they're flying around everywhere, digging for balls. How many steals did they have tonight? 9 steals in this game. And the assists, Morgan, 23 assists for Minnesota, 16 turnovers.
Yeah. Taking care of the basketball, that's another thing. But I feel like they were allowing, like we said, or like I said earlier, their defense to kind of dictate the rest of their game. You know, like not finding that flow, having a stagnant offense, and not being able to get stops is one thing. Not being able to obviously have the Nuggets miss a whole bunch of shots. You get the ball and you just go the other way. Like, that wasn't happening. But then the self-inflicted wounds of the turnovers and just not taking care of the basketball, not being fully focused, especially on your home floor. They'll look back at this one. I know we heard Anthony Edwards either mic'd up or something, and he was like, it's a series, you guys. You know, there's more games. Like, don't worry about it. And I believe that he believes that, obviously, from the bottom of his heart. But at the same time, the defending champs, you just want to make sure you are not letting them see any type of glimmer of hope, because who knows what they can do with that, especially with the experience that they do have.
One other cat note, because we're talking about the offense. He had 2 shot attempts in the paint tonight. And what we've been seeing with him, especially last game, being aggressive, attacking the rim. And even if he's not scoring, he's a very good passer too. Like, tonight, when they look back, that's going to make them sick with how they executed offensively tonight. And maybe you're right. Maybe it was so deflating that they couldn't get that. Denver's making all the shots, that even when they were playing good defense at times, Denver's scoring, that it was impacting them. But they got to lock in, because you talk about a glimmer of hope. I thought they got more of a glimmer of hope tonight.
Yeah, second quarter on, it was Denver's game. And that, to me, is why, you know, at times I'm like, that's boring. But then there's certain elements to it when you actually look back of Jamal Murray going off, and some sexy offense from the Denver Nuggets, and then some pretty nice stops too. Just the adjust. I don't know if it was the adjustments that Denver's defense necessarily made, because I didn't feel like they were like, oh, so much more aggressive and physical. I just thought they capitalized on the way that the T-Wolves were playing on that end of the floor. And that was with not a lot of spirit, not a lot of life. And they were like, okay, well, we're going to pounce on this.
What did you think of game number 3? I know a lot of people had the shovels out for the Denver Nuggets. Do you think they're still alive? Are they like the Undertaker? Do they just put their hand through the soil, reach up, and say, we're still alive?
Okay.
Or it's just one game. Nuggets hit some shots. Minnesota will be more focused. We'll find out. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Hit the thumbs up and subscribe.
Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. They tell you what they know. Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. The podcast that you know.